Spartan Nation, cue the woodshed. Wow. I actually feel like a super cool Spartan again. We actually got a W. I'm Ken, the super cool Spartan. It's my brother Brian, the super mad Spartan. But he looks pretty calm again this week. Cue the woodshed. Back at it once again. And pretty happy because we actually won. We had the flag back in its normal position.
We're no.
It's not upside down.
No,
so,
we got it together.
So, yes. So, let's get into it, as we say. So, what's your initial thoughts?
We won. That's the biggest thing.
Yes, we won.
Won,
yes.
There was less mistakes to cost us the game. I feel like we did have some help. As usual, the Big Ten refs aren't always the greatest, but we got some breaks here and there.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Can't deny that. There were less coaching gaffes, but there were some down the stretch, particularly in the last 5 minutes of the game that we have to talk about. Well, other than that, we won. So I can't be too mad about it.
Yep, 2017. And what's interesting, too, because I think I brought it up through our last episode, is that historically MSU doesn't beat Nebraska that often. So this is a win in the sense that we beat Nebraska. I mean, it's not vintage Nebraska, but...
When was the last time Nebraska been vintage?
When they were in the Big 12. That was the last time.
Well, 97? Anyway, we'll continue.
But, yes, I think this is MSU's maybe 4th or 5th time in their program history beating Nebraska.
Something like that.
So, that's a win in itself. So, yes.
It's just like, it was good to see a victory near the end of the game. It was a little tight. It was closer than I thought it should have been. But Michigan State pulled it out. And it was good to see a lot of the young players making plays.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm extremely happy for the players. I know they've been trying. I know that they haven't quit, which is amazing to me.
Very amazing.
And speaking of them not quitting, we have to give Harlan Barnett credit for at least keeping the team together. Because I don't know if anybody else on this coaching staff could have come in and kept the ship afloat, at least in terms of players not quitting on the field and quitting through the transfer portal. So happy for Harlan Barnett. He got his first victory as interim head coach. You know, hats off to him. We've been very critical of the coaching staff, so we can give them credit where credit's due.
Yeah. I saw on Instagram there was a video of Tom Izzo. He congratulated Harlan Barnett, and Harlan gave him a big old bear hug and picked him up and stuff. So I know that was a good moral victory too, because like you said, the players have been trying, and yeah, we have pretty much verbally beat down the coaching staff.
I mean, it's
and deservedly so. I mean,
it's there.
It's there.
And like I said,
it's like attacking raw meat.
There were some things in this game that happened late that are very questionable, and we'll talk about them.
So let's get into that. Our good Sparty, bad Sparty segment.
Okay, so you want to start with the good?
Yeah, let's start with the good, because for the past, 6 weeks, we've been starting with the bad. So let's start with the good.
We played 2 quarterbacks, and they all made plays. We had more passing yards than Nebraska. It's good to have 2 quarterbacks who can complete a forward pass in comparison to Nebraska's quarterback, who I would assume left a lot to be desired by their fan base.
Oh yeah.
He was throwing some passes to the other team. He was out there, but shout out to our quarterbacks. They made big plays. We needed them, and also the defense. I know they gave up some points. I know they did. They gave up a few things here and there, but it has been the case outside of them playing really good top 5, top 10 teams. Defense has been solid.
Yeah, they had 3 turnovers. one fumble that they recovered and 2 picks.
Yes.
And even though that the team has been on this long losing streak, for the most part, the defense has done their job. I mean, they've been able to get turnovers, and they've kept the games afloat. They didn't melt down. They just, like with most cases in football, if all 3 phases aren't working together, the defense is spending most of their time on the field. And I think you said in one of our earlier shows that the average total number of plays for the defense for the whole game is about 60, 70. And MSU's defense has been averaging that in the first half.
Well, maybe not 60 in the first half, but the last game I think it was 45 plays in the first half, which is insane.
Yeah.
And speaking of getting turnovers, I believe Jaden Mangum, the safety, he's tops in the nation with interceptions. He has 4.
Really? Oh, yes. Wow. Okay.
Now, Nebraska's quarterback just threw some up to him. I mean, but he got to catch him. So that's shout out to the young man, because I know after the game, I watched the interview, he was thoroughly excited. He was smiling ear to ear. So it's good to see the young players coming through.
And coming into this game, I was really surprised about Nebraska's overall record, because I watched them like the first couple of weeks, and I don't know if the quarterback that started, is he the one that's playing now, or the...
No, it's a different quarterback.
Okay.
So I actually did my research last week a little bit better when I said, because the other quarterback that started for Nebraska, he was the one who led college football in turnovers.
Yeah.
But I guess with this quarterback now, he had 3. So it works out for us.
Yes. Yeah. So, but that's an interesting fact about. I didn't know that about Mangum. So yeah, shout out to him.
The young DBs have been good.
Mm-hmm.
Was it a few weeks ago? What team did we play when Chance Rucker made his first start? He's kind of picked on a little bit. If you noticed, you ain't hearing his name called a whole lot. And that's a good thing for a defensive back to hear the name not called a whole lot, because they're not going his way. And so you're starting to see the young secondary, because they have a lot of talent. They've been talking about, I believe Michigan State has something like 27 4-stars on the squad, and that's, the upper half of the Big Ten in terms of talent.
Mm-hmm.
So there's guys there that are just young, and it's good to see that those young guys, starting to get mature and playing a little bit better. The defense, like I said, it hasn't been a sieve. I remember the last couple of years, it felt like every quarterback that played against us was throwing for 80% completion rates, 300 yards, is just shredding us. Now, defense hasn't been, foolproof, and, we still have issues, but that's been stopped a little bit.
Yeah.
And it helps that the Big Ten's offenses aren't great.
Yeah. Overall, the conference just on offense has been terrible.
Yep. But we won, so it doesn't matter.
I know, we won.
We got this third victory.
We got the W.
So that's the most important thing. And then it was tight down the stretch. We keep on saying, we'll get to it in bad Sparty, but I'm glad we won. It was a weird feeling, because for so long, like the last few weeks, it seems like I've just been waiting for the team to lose.
Bottom out.
Yeah, just to feel like, okay,
what's they going to do?
What's going to be that play that's going to start the avalanche that leads to this loss? And they turned the tide, and they got it right. And the defense came through at the end. We're talking about they had the Nebraska gets the ball back, because we ran some interesting play calls.
Mm-hmm.
And they're trying to drive to at least kick a field goal, tie the game, or touchdown and win it. And Barrow, who came back, who went to the transfer portal and comes back to the team, he gets a strip fumble on the quarterback, and that basically runs the clock out, and Nebraska can't do anything to get down to kick the field goal. Like I said, defense kept playing. They made plays, and it was good to see them close out the game.
Yes, that's the main thing, closing it out. So, we definitely have some good talent on the defensive side of the ball. So hopefully, going into next year, they can build upon that.
Hopefully those guys stay. There's no guarantee they do. It's their right to leave. And I'd understand it, because a lot of these guys are highly rated people.
Right.
I'm sure there's people in their DMs whispering in their ears. They see the NIL dollars flashing. So hopefully we can, keep them together. They seem like people who would stay, but you never know.
Right. Well, it's to be continued.
Yes.
So, let's get to the bad. When I saw this stat, the rushing yards only 63, like, whoa, that was not a good one.
It had some linemen hurt. Basically, our running backs are hurt. I just read today that Nathan Carter's been trying to play through injuries, and that happens when he's basically been the only healthy back the whole year.
Right.
We have Jaron Mangum. He's been hurt for most of the year. He came back last 2 games. He only got a couple of carries. You had Jalen Berger, who got hurt, I think, versus Iowa? Or no, he got hurt in the Richmond game. Second game of the year, he got hurt. He came back, got hurt again. He's done for the year.
Right, yeah.
So our scholarship running backs room is thin. And so it happens. I believe probably Hauser had almost as many rushing yards. He probably had caught up for most of his rushing yards. Hauser and Levitt.
Yeah.
We should put that in good Sparty. The quarterbacks, they both looked pretty good. They both came in and scored touchdowns, so we'll amend that to the good Sparty.
Yeah.
And we'll go back to the bad.
Yes. Penalties, I did see penalties. He had 7 of them for 70 yards. 70 yards, I meant. And it wasn't as many as they had in the past. I mean,
I think
10 penalties for 200 yards.
It was the last podcast we did. I said, can we get 75 yards? Just can it incrementally bring it down? So I guess it worked, but 70 yards is still a lot. But
it's better than 100.
Yes, it is better than 100, but still, it can be improved upon because those penalties, most of those penalties are things that could be preventable. There was one, the most infuriating one to me, and it was only a 5-yard penalty, delay of game. But Michigan State has 3 timeouts. Not the shot clock, but the play clock is running down. What are you supposed to do in that situation? Call a timeout.
Right.
Head coach. That's what you're supposed to do. That goes to some of the coaching stuff, the game management of it. That made me so mad. I know it's only 5 yards, but those little things, because we've seen this team. That 5 yards could change that play call that makes something else happen that causes the avalanche for this team to lose or turnover or something weird happen.
Yeah.
So that's why, those are preventable penalties.
Right.
Especially for the coaching staff.
Yeah. Yeah, all year, the number of penalties that this team has had, very preventable.
I wonder, was there a special team, like a formation penalty on a punt? I assume there was, because that's kind of like the thing for Michigan State. It's not a Michigan State football game until there's a punt formation penalty.
Right. I don't. Was there one in this game? I don't recall.
I have to go back and watch it. I usually record the games and watch them. Some of these games have been too brutal to go back and relive, but I'll take a peek at it.
Or maybe you can ask Connor Stallions. He probably would know.
Take a peek. Yeah. Sure, he has it mapped out.
He's been peeking a whole lot.
Yeah. We'll see what happens to them later on, but don't care. This is a Michigan State podcast.
Yes. You were talking about the coaching. Yeah, some of the coaching decisions down the stretch could have flipped it going upside down again.
I was by myself watching this game, and I opined that is the coaching staff trying to give this game away in that last 5 minutes? Because the play calling was utterly ridiculous. 5 minutes left in the game, State's up 10. At that point, you just got to run clock. I understand the running game wasn't great, but they get the ball back, 5 minutes left, and they call a halfback pass again. And the guy didn't throw the ball, but you can see he was lining up to do it. Like, you already called this play. Why are we doing this? We, at this point, 5 minutes left, up 10, we need to make sure that Nebraska uses their timeouts.
Right.
So at a minimum, hey, I think it's 40 seconds per play clock. hand the ball off, wait 40 seconds, hand the ball off, wait 40 seconds, hand the ball off, 40 seconds, punt. That was, what, 3 times 4? That's almost a minute and 20 right there.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're getting into the, all right, they have to have a 4-minute offense. So it means Nebraska, who hasn't been doing anything consistently on offense all day, has to score 2 times in about 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yep.
Even if they come down and score, all right, get the ball, do the same thing again. I don't care if you don't even get a first down. You can run that clock pretty low, and then you have to punt and make them go the whole length of the field again. But they came out just bombing the ball down the field, stopping the clock. Like you're giving them ample opportunity to come down and take this game from us. And that was very frustrating. Like, why are we throwing the ball down the field? Why are we not just? They could have taken knees for all I care. They could have ran a stretch play and then run to the side and say, nope, I'm down. And there's so many other things they could have done besides trying to throw long passes down the field. I understand they're trying to kill shot this team, but I talked about it last week. With the type of team that we have and the avalanche we know that can come, you need to be conservative.
Well, I don't think that's in Jay Johnson's vocabulary.
I don't know what's in his book. I don't know what the offense is.
Is not.
It's we'll be moving on to a new offensive coordinator next season, and I wish Jay Johnson the best. He's done his services as a Spartan. 2021 was a great year, and
that's it.
We're on to the next one.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know. He has this big love affair just bombing the ball down the field, especially at inopportune times. It's not necessary.
You know, and I remember I was very critical of throwing. Like, why are you throwing that long pass? Like, well, obviously that's the offense.
Yeah.
And it's befuddling sometimes. And, you know, going back, and I'll add this back to the good, I was thinking about it. Terrell Henry had a great game.
Oh, yeah, he did.
And how he played was, I imagined what he could do this whole year. Being the slot guy, catching slants, you know, getting yards at the catch. And they got him the ball in a couple good spots and let him run and get it. All right, okay. How come we're not using the intermediary, you know, in short passing game a whole lot more? Everything is either, all right, a bomb to the side of the field or some other BS. I don't know. It doesn't seem to be a consistent game plan with Michigan State. And for years now, it's been a mixed bag on offense. You don't know what the game plan, what are we trying to do?
Right.
Now, to Hauser and Levis' credit, they both went out there and made plays. There was a weird play call that almost got Levitt killed. I didn't know the wisdom. I didn't understand the wisdom behind that one of having him go out there and try to catch a pass and get blowed up. Thank goodness he wasn't hurt. But again, those are coaching decisions. And of course, the guy's gonna say, "Yeah, go out there and catch that pass." I was like, well, "Do we need that?"
No.
I mean, it was open and made a better pass, but again, you're having a receiver throw a pass to a quarterback.
Yeah.
And we've seen the receivers not be able to catch good balls sometimes. So it's, I said, a mixed bag. It didn't hurt us too much. I believe they scored on that drive on a controversial touchdown catch. I don't think it was a catch, but they counted it, so that's all that matters. And the referee definitely trolled us. He says the play stands. Like,
he did do that.
He didn't have to pause. Like, I'm like,
he
okay,
did do that.
It's not a drama, but okay.
Yeah, he did do that. Yeah. Oh boy. Yep. They almost blew it, but hey, they did.
They didn't. So, we gave them credit earlier. Despite all these late game gaffes and weirdness, the game was closed out with victory for MSU.
Right. And they did it with only converting 3 third downs. They went 3 for 14 on third down plays.
It wasn't pretty.
Yeah, it was a.
But at this point, we
don't
care about stat points. You want victories.
Right.
And I've been saying that all year. Like we're down bad. We don't worry about style points. We worry about victories. I don't care if we won 2 to 3. in a disgusting game of football. But if we had the 3,
baseball score.
Red box ball, but we win this time. So it's hopefully this team with solid coaching can be decent. I don't know if we have playoff aspirations the next couple of years, depending on the coaching staff. But I would just like to see.
I would hope so.
Aspirations, yes, but realistic aspirations. I don't know. It depends on the coach and it depends on a lot of different factors. Because recruiting class is going to be different. I believe there's another decommit today. I think the 5th one, which is understandable. A lot of unknowns about Michigan State. You don't know if you're going to have a spot, so why would you stay committed to this school?
Right.
But we'll see. I'm sure by the end of this month, first week in December, we will have a coach.
Uncle Urban?
No. I do not think it'll be Uncle Urban. That is who the people want.
The people's champ.
But that from everything I've seen on the message board, has kind of been dying down, and it's not going to happen. But I would welcome it. I'm not going to shy away from it. There's some other names out there that I've come around to. We'll do another, maybe at the end of the year before they announce it, we'll say who we think it could be, and there will probably be more leaks at that time because you can't keep this airtight for this amount of time because we're getting down to the end of the season. So interviews are going to be happening probably the next few weeks. Decisions are going to be made. Contracts are going to be hashed out, and we'll see. Right.
So I had to put this on Bad Sparty. Our basketball team, I mean...
At least there's basketball season, and it's not off to a great start. But it's only November. First game. That's all I got. Because the squad, that game, I watched the majority of it, and it seemed like every weakness that we thought this team could have showed up. And they're going to need more from the seniors because this is supposed to be this is a senior, junior dominant team, and some of those guys didn't show up the way we need them to.
No, when you do 1 for 20 for behind the arc, and then you miss, multiple free throws.
We missed like 10. It was anyway. It's early. There have been November losses in Izzo's history. I know this is not the norm, lose your home opener, but there's been other losses. Someone's going to have to step up, and if not, we're on back to hoping for everything. Just hope basketball, hope football.
Hope.
Yeah. Spartan hockey's good. They beat Ohio State. They swept them back-to-back. I noticed that.
Oh, okay.
So shout out to the hockey team. So we got.
Yeah, I think women's soccer. I think they beat Michigan recently.
A few weeks ago, yes. So
yeah.
Cross country team won a national championship. So there's good things in sports, just not sports that we're too familiar with.
Yes.
But yes, shout out to those teams.
Yes. Yeah, it was shocking to see them lose their opener, but yeah, like you said, I mean, it's only one game, and we'll see what happens.
They got Duke coming up. They beat Duke. That can,
watch the bad taste instantly.
I am definitely won't rank number 4.
Yeah.
I would prefer this team not be ranked right now because that performance they weren't worthy of being in the top 25 team.
Correct. And MSU does better when they're not ranked or lowly ranked.
I just don't understand how. Anyway, I don't want to get too deep into it because it's early, and just yeah. Yeah.
So let's reel it back into football. Our next opponent. I mean, we're pretty happy for this week. We got that W, but I think that's going to be crashing down because we're at Ohio State. This coming up Saturday. It's a night game, 7:30, Columbus, Ohio. They coming in hot, 9-0. They ranked number 1, the CFP, and they whooped up on Rutgers at Rutgers last week.
Well, the game they were losing at halftime, so let's give it. It wasn't the final score wasn't indicative of how close the game was.
No,
they were losing at halftime. This is an NBC game, isn't it?
It is.
And they have the
not Peacock, even though you probably can watch it on
You can't watch it on Peacock,
but it's on NBC. Yeah.
Well, we got a victory this last week, so we can be sacrificed to Ohio State this week for the good of the Big Ten. For the strength of Ohio State's schedule, not really, but
Well, hey, Ohio State. I mean, of all the top 4 teams that's ranked, they're the only ones that have beaten ranked opponents.
Yeah, they're number 1 because they have the best resume, and that's probably it. And I'll go on my little mini rant. I'm not a huge fan of the college football committee and playoff rankings.
No, I'm not either.
Because
I'm not either.
They'll rank Ohio State at number 1 and say, "Oh, they have a great resume," and then you have Washington at number 5, who beat ranked number 16 Oregon, and you have Michigan up there who hasn't beaten anybody.
They've beaten nobody.
And I'm not saying Michigan's not a good football team. They are. It's just I hate how they use.
Do we think they are?
Well, whatever. Forget them. It's just how the CFP, how they cherry pick which logic they want to use for each team. And I know they do it just to drum up ratings and to have us talking about it like we are now. But that's why I don't watch the show.
I don't watch it either.
I'll just wait for it to come out and say, okay, I most of the time you can just 1, 2, 3, 4. You can move all around. It is what it is. But it's just, I just don't like when they have to go out there and explain the rankings and they have all this weird logic while they this and that team and this and that. I'm like, well, okay. So they basically kept everything the same. They have Bama as like, what is Bama, 8?
Yeah.
All right. I can make a case if you're going to go by resume, shouldn't Bama be ranked above Oregon? And I'm not saying Oregon's not better than Bama. I'm just saying if you're going to go off resume, who's, Ole Miss, who's ranked in the top 10, top 15.
Yeah, they're ranked number 10, I think.
They beat Tennessee. Like, okay, you talk about these teams that Bama beat that are ranked, but you're giving Ohio State credit for that, but not Bama because they're not that overly dominant Bama team that we've been seeing the last 10 years. They're still very good.
Oh, yeah, they only have 1 loss.
And they could sneak into the playoffs. It's just, I don't understand the logic behind all of it.
Yeah, I don't either.
So, again, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter at this point. It's all going to work itself out, and it become immediately clear by end of this month who deserves to be in and who doesn't.
And this justifies the reason for them to do a 12-team playoff because pretty much that ends that conversation we're having now with the top 4 teams.
Well, they just want the money. There's not 12 great teams out there.
No, there isn't.
I would say the top 6, it's just me, Super Mad Sparty Brian, my opinion. The playoffs should only be 6. And then you get the top 2 seeds get a bye, then other teams play, and because there aren't 12 teams that could win a championship.
I agree.
It's just not. It's just not. It's a money grab. But that's what this sport is all about now. It's just money.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I initially thought and do think that 6 teams is appropriate. Because I do think when you have a team like a Cincinnati or was it UCF a few years ago, they went 12-0. Yes. They deserve to be
at least a shot.
Right, it's a shot.
And I totally agree with that.
But anything beyond that is like, okay. I mean, at this point, they might as well just go to an NFL-style schedule.
Well, they're going to have NFL-style conferences in a little bit. It's just, and usually, one of the games is always a blowout.
Yes.
Now, last season, Michigan was getting blown out, and they kind of came back. They still lost. It was an upset. But usually, like I said, that first one of 2 games is always a blowout.
Yeah.
You talk about the top 4, we're going to go to 12.
Yep.
And, yeah. Student athletes, remember that phrase.
Yeah, but we know we won't be in it.
No,
so.
no, not worry about it.
We'll be in the toilet bowl, so.
We'll be watching.
MSU versus Purdue. I don't know.
Yeesh.
Battle of the who can flush the.
All right. We don't gotta go down to those depths. We're okay.
So, let's get to our fun fact.
What you got for us today, Ken?
Man, this is a pretty interesting one. Another one. So, did some research, and I found out I looked up the greatest comeback game in MSU football history.
Yeah, I know this one. I watched that game at home back in 06.
Yes, the John L. Smith era. So much we bagged on John L. Smith. Like I say, he did.
There were some games.
Get some games that he won.
There were some games, yeah.
So, yeah. So this is the game 2006 versus Northwestern. They were down 38-3.
They was kicking our butts.
Yes, and they scored 38 unanswered points to win 41-38.
It was like a block punt for a touchdown. There was a bunch of stuff that happened.
Yes.
But it was a very entertaining game. I watched
and that was Drew Stanton, right?
Yes, Drew Stanton. I watched the highlights. Yeah. This is how you know you're getting old. And I was at Michigan State in 06, and then watching that, the film was all grainy now, the pads were all big. You're like, it's like looking the same football anymore. But we won, and I was very happy that day.
Right. And not only was the biggest comeback from Michigan State football, that was like the biggest comeback in NCAA history, so double. So can't say that MSU football, number one, doesn't matter, because it does, and they don't have history. They do. Because I never thought that when I looked that stat up, I was like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, we have good times and bad times. Feels like more bad times recently, but we do have history.
Yes.
We do have actually a rich football history. We just got to get back to winning.
Yes.
Get back to winning.
Right. So hopefully with this next coaching regime, they'll do that.
But hope. We could be in the bottom of the Big Ten for another 10 years. Just get it right.
Yes.
Please.
Right. Well, another edition of Cue the Woodshed here. Make sure you check us out on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also check us out on TikTok and Instagram under the same name, Cue the Woodshed. Also, you can email us at blkspartybros@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And I'm Ken, the super cool Spartan. Very cool this week. My brother Brian, the super mad Spartan, but he's very cool this week as well.
Nothing to be mad about. Victory for MSU.
Yes. Cue the Woodshed. We out.
Peace.